The year 1925 marked a watershed for Alabama. The Crimson Tide football team's upset victory over Washington in the Rose Bowl put the South on the national athletic map, injecting a spirit of pride into the state. This era was the beginning of a slow shift from an agrarian to an industrial economy. Yet racial segregation and Jim Crow laws remained rigidly enforced. The onset of the Great Depression in 1929 delivered a severe blow to the state's burgeoning economy.
During the Great Depression, Alabama faced immense economic hardship, particularly for its rural and African American populations. President Roosevelt's New Deal programs, such as the Tennessee Valley Authority, or TVA, and the Civilian Conservation Corps, or CCC, brought crucial infrastructure development, power generation, and job creation. Yet, these benefits were often subject to racial discrimination. The decade was also marked by the infamous 1931 Scottsboro Boys trial, a stark symbol of judicial injustice.
World War II brought a dramatic economic boom to Alabama. Federal investment expanded military bases and war industries, such as shipbuilding in Mobile and military installations in Huntsville. This created thousands of new jobs and caused rapid urbanization. Many African Americans and women entered the industrial workforce for the first time. The military and industrial foundations established during the war would become crucial for the state's future post-conflict development. The post-WW2 years saw Alabama continue its slow trajectory toward industrialization. However, this period also marked the peak of racial segregation's rigidity in the state. Despite the new military bases and industries, African Americans remained severely disadvantaged economically and politically. Following the 1954 Brown v. Board of Education ruling, the backlash of massive resistance to integration began, and its intensity was nowhere more evident than in Alabama.
In December 1955, Rosa Parks' arrest in Montgomery for refusing to give up her bus seat sparked a year-long bus boycott led by the Montgomery Improvement Association, MIA. This nonviolent campaign catapulted Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to national prominence and established nonviolent resistance as the primary tactic of the civil rights movement. The boycott finally concluded in 1956 after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled bus segregation unconstitutional.
The late 1950s ushered in a new dimension to Alabama's history. The arrival of German rocket scientists, led by Wernher von Braun, transformed Huntsville's Redstone Arsenal into the foundation of NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center, MSFC. Making it a hub for space exploration. Huntsville earned the nickname Rocket City, and the region's economy rapidly diversified and boomed, playing a crucial role in shaping the future of Alabama.
In 1963, Birmingham, then notoriously known as Bombingham for its racial violence, became the epicenter of the civil rights movement. Campaigns led by Dr. King and the brutal police response from Commissioner Eugene Bull Connor garnered worldwide attention. Images of police dogs and fire hoses used against young protesters swayed public opinion. A tragic turn occurred in September with the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing, which killed 4 young girls. Following the events of 1963, Alabama witnessed another major campaign, this time for voting rights. In 1965, 3 historic marches took place from Selma to Montgomery. The first, on Bloody Sunday, saw Alabama state troopers brutally attack protesters on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. The televised violence shocked the nation and was a major catalyst, encouraging President Lyndon B. Johnson to push for the passage of the landmark Voting Rights Act of 1965.
The Voting Rights Act of 1965 fundamentally reshaped Alabama's politics, as African Americans finally gained access to the ballot. Schools and public facilities slowly and often reluctantly desegregated under federal court orders. During this period, Governor George Wallace, a key symbol of the segregationist past, began to moderate his stance, reflecting the wider political shift happening within the state.
The 1970s and 1980s saw the decline of Alabama's traditional industries, such as textiles and steel. However, diversified sectors like the aerospace industry in Huntsville and the port in Mobile began to strengthen. The phenomenal success of the Alabama football team under coach Bear Bryant remained a consistent source of unifying state pride. The state's economy increasingly shifted towards service-based employment and high-tech industries.
Although Alabama began leaning Republican in presidential elections after 1964, Democrats maintained control over state and local politics. This began to change in 1986 with the election of Republican Guy Hunt as governor, marking a significant political shift. The decade saw a massive political realignment from Democrat to Republican allegiance, turning Alabama, like much of the Deep South, into a solid Republican stronghold at the state level. The early 2000s saw Alabama emerge as a major center for the international automotive industry. The arrival of major automakers like Mercedes-Benz, Hyundai, and Honda created thousands of high-wage jobs and further solidified the state's manufacturing base. This new industrialization, particularly in rural areas, revitalized the economy, lessening Alabama's reliance on its older, fading industries like textiles and steel. In April 2011, the state was devastated by a massive tornado outbreak, particularly in the Tuscaloosa and Birmingham areas, causing widespread destruction and loss of life. The disaster brought forth incredible resilience and recovery efforts across the state's communities. Concurrently, under Coach Nick Saban, the Alabama football program began an unprecedented era of dominance, winning multiple national championships and becoming a defining aspect of modern Alabama culture and identity.
During this period, Alabama experienced continued economic growth, particularly with the expansion of the technology and aerospace industries in Huntsville. Birmingham solidified its service economy in medicine and banking. Demographically, the state saw a rise in its Latinx and Asian American populations, diversifying Alabama's traditional ethnic makeup and introducing new cultural influences.
By 2025, Alabama reaches its centennial from the pivotal year of 1925. Modern Alabama is leveraging its diversified economy across healthcare, aerospace, automotive, and education. While navigating contemporary challenges like the COVID-19 pandemic and climate change, the state continues efforts to acknowledge its history of racial injustice and emphasize the ongoing importance of civil rights, carrying its complex legacy forward into the future.